Live it, love it, MyGC.
Recently retired surf reporter Andrew McKinnon is a Gold Coast treasure. His illustrious broadcasting career spans more than 4 decades, and in his own words, it's been an amazing ride.
Well, it started in 1978 for me at Double J, which is ABC AM in those days, and Nat Young was doing a surf report, and he asked me to fill in for him. So that was my first start on radio. And then about 10 years later, I came to Sydney, and Mark Warren asked me if I could fill in for him at 2MMM. And that was really a great experience for me. And then in 1989, CFM started on the Gold Coast, and that's when I put my hand up for that. And 28 years later, I've retired from radio, and here I am today. I learnt to surf here in 1962 at Mermaid Beach, and when it blew southerly, you know, you went down the coast, of course, to surf the points, and that's when I'd see the Deans, Wayne and Robbie Dean, Graham Black, you know, the Coolangatta crew were amazing. We had this really big club up on the northern beaches. It was a branch of Wind and Sea, and the Druins and the Nielsens were in that club. So I was just a young junior in those days, and then I grew up with the likes of Michael Peterson, Peter Townend and Rabbit Bartholomew. I mean, they were the original Coolangatta kids, and I learned a lot from those guys. And I knew that those guys would become, you know, world champs. And, you know, Michael was probably the only one that didn't become a world champ, but he became the biggest surf cult hero ever. So somewhere along the line, I had to decide, what am I going to do? I love my surfing, and I was thinking, how can I make a living out of surfing? So I thought, surf media. Somehow, if I write and report and present, I can make a career out of that. And that's where I created the nickname Andy Mac, and Andy Mac, voice of the surf, and was able to, lucky enough, get a gig, you know, to keep that whole thing going.
Andy Mac has also been a major advocate of ocean and coastal conservation and played an integral part in the protection of the Gold Coast pristine beaches and iconic surf breaks.
The first huge rally we had was against the French when they were bombing the Pacific. And we got this giant demonstration down the beach at Surfers Paradise where we got everyone to line up with the no nukes. And that campaign went around the world. In 2009, we had the Australia Day paddle out at Cura. That was really big. There was about 1,500 paddlers that came out. We did the Shape of Australia out at Cura. And that was basically to get the government back to the negotiation table over, you know, putting too much sand on Cura. The next event after that was around about 2012 when we wanted to get the rocks back on Big Groin Cura. And really the credit needs to go to the KPI for that. Cura Point Incorporated. I was on that committee, Wayne Dean was president. We had all sorts of characters, you know, there was a lot of really dedicated people there. And we were able to convince then the new mayor, Tom Tate, to put the rocks back on the groin. So that was a good win. And then, of course, the ocean terminal at North Cura reared its ugly head. So we were obviously opposed to that, and we had a very big demonstration there in 2014. And I'd said to everyone, look, it's one thing protesting about this, but you have to come up with some sort of program or some sort of plan that will preserve and protect. And I said a World Surfing Reserve will do that from Burleigh to Snapper. In fact, that's unique. That hasn't happened anywhere else in the world. You know, life's been really good to me, and the Gold Coast has been really good to me, and I just love it here. I live at Currumbin, and you know, it's the next best thing to living in heaven as far as I'm concerned. So I'll just continue on. I don't know what's around the corner. I've got 3 books that I really want to write. Maybe there's another big thing coming up next. Who knows?